You lived in Cuba for 12 years.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd like to ask first about tourism, because if most of us are going to touch Cuba, it's going to be through a visit. Has that eased up, and what do you project?
Well, there are 12 different segments of the U.S. population that can currently visit Cuba, and they're being given permission by President Obama. Obviously, Cuba is all about culture. These trips that are currently permitted don't allow tourism trips in terms of going to the beach. They have to be educational based. You have to be furthering your education in one way or another.
In regards to people going down there and staying, Airbnb is right here in our backyard in San Francisco.
Right. Mm-hmm.
One company that has taken advantage seems to be doing fairly well in Cuba.
Yeah.
What other companies are you seeing who are succeeding?
Yeah, I mean, you have Starwood Hotels, now have 3 hotels in Havana. You have Sheraton. You have American Airlines, who've opened a sales office in the Miramar Trade Center in Havana, and Stripe, Google. All these companies went down with President Obama in December 2014, and they're obviously thriving.
You lived in Cuba for 12 years.
Yes.
In your opinion, if the restrictions are lifted, do you think that slowly but surely the culture there will change, more businesses will pop up, and maybe some of the communist restrictions will lift, or do you not agree with that?
Well, I think that the situation in terms of business in Cuba, most of the limitations for American companies are actually imposed by the U.S. government, okay? I mean, we've seen every U.S. business that has been allowed to operate in Cuba is currently operating. So Cuba is giving the permission for these businesses to operate, yet getting the approval from the U.S. side is the difficult part for the U.S. companies.
What about President-elect Donald Trump's vow to terminate this relations between U.S. and Cuba? If he can't get a, quote, better deal with these companies, how would that play a role with businesses here in the United States?
Well, I think that President-elect Trump is looking at a better commercial deal with Cuba, okay? We've seen a lot of inroads proposed by Obama, but not really on a commercial angle, whereas I think Trump will pursue more of a commercial atmosphere and relationship with Cuba, and that can only be favorable.
Talk to me about rum and cigarettes. I'm sorry, rum and cigars. Sorry, cigars.
Right. Well, I mean, you've seen that Obama recently just approved the sale of rum and cigars in the U.S., and also that anybody who visits Cuba from the U.S. can bring back as much of those as they wish. Previously, it was limited to $100.
Okay.
Yeah.
All you can grab and stuff in that suitcase. Thank you so much, Steve Marshall, for talking to us about what's happening in the future of Cuba. Thank you.